True Horror with Wolf and a Mummy.
Welcome back to True Horror with Wolf and a Mummy. I'm the Mummy, Kim Wilkes.
And I am Wolf Turner, the wolf. Oh! Well, Kimberly Michelle Wilkes,
Yes.
What is our film today?
So today we'll be talking about head cheese, Leatherface, also known as Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
For all you ghouls and gals out there that have never seen the 1974 classic, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, it's about a girl named Sally that hears that her grandfather's poor grave may have been vandalized. Her and her paraplegic brother, Franklin, set out with their friends to investigate. After a detour to their family's old farmhouse, they discover a group of crazed, murderous outcasts living next door. As the group is attacked one by one by the chainsaw-wielding Leatherface, who wears a mask of human skin. The survivors must do everything they can to escape this Leatherface. And you know what they say, everything's bigger in Texas, including the kills. So I'd heard of Leatherface and obviously Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah.
Never heard of head cheese.
Yeah. So I think it was because when they were in the van, they were talking about how they make certain kind of meats, and that's where they got the name head cheese, was from that conversation.
Very interesting.
It is interesting. I'm glad they didn't go with head cheese, because like that does not sound like a horror movie to me. It sounds like something from Wisconsin or something, you know?
Right? Yeah. Or like some kind of like a cooking show.
Right.
Like Gordon Ramsay with head cheese.
Right. Head of the class.
Head of the class, head of the
Right.
cheese.
Right. It just so, and I would have equally liked Leatherface, though. I mean, that. But Texas Chainsaw Massacre, that is very iconic.
Completely. And I think everyone knows Leatherface coincides with Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It reminds me of one of our favorite movies, Idle Hands, where Seth Green he's like, look at me, I'm Leatherface.
Oh, look at me, I'm Leatherface.
I love that line in that scene. It's freaking great.
Hannah, that's like her ultimate favorite horror movie, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean,
Yeah,
it changed the film industry for horror movies.
Isn't it the most successful independent horror film?
I mean, at the time, it was one of the first indie horror movies with such a little budget. They ran out. It was gone. No money. They started paying actors by saying, oh, when this movie comes out, we'll give you some money, but we have nothing.
Wow. And then they didn't get money.
Yeah.
Because I think they made a deal with the mafia. They didn't realize it was the mafia. So they got gypped out of money until like the 80s, I think. That kind of sucks for the crew and the cast.
Absolutely, which is weird. I mean, I don't know why I watched this. Yesterday I watched on how the McDonald's monopoly was all was all rigged and it had to go with the mafia.
Yeah. Everything deals with the mafia. I mean, what, aren't we sponsored by the mafia this week? Isn't that
Brought to you by New York Mafia. When you're here, your family.
too much? I love it. Oh my gosh. I want to make some Leatherface Godfather like pun like in the title, but I can't think of one.
You come to me on the day of my face eating. I'm sorry, that was really bad.
It was good though. I mean, this movie does deal a lot with the grandpa. Like, they got to feed him that blood and make sure the girl gets cut up for him.
He's so creepy. He's so
so creepy. He's So creepy.
I mean, obviously the other face is the creepiest, but when I first watched it, I thought like he had some crazy face on. He just was so old and wrinkly, and you think he's dead. And as we both know, it's ridiculous that the scene when he comes in at the table and everything that had to go with that and how it was all created.
That dinner was just disgusting. Like when you hear about like what really went on, like it was more disgusting behind the scenes than what you really saw in the movie.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't until I watched the documentary that I even knew everything that went into shooting that. I have so much more respect for it. 27-hour shoot day?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh my, I couldn't imagine. I literally could not imagine. It was supposed to be at nighttime, but they're shooting in the day. 100-degree weather. They have real rotting food. It smells like crap. The grandpa is a 17-year-old boy or the father is a 17-year-old boy.
What?
And he's all suited up, probably sweating his balls off.
Wait, who's 17?
The old man.
No way.
They're feeding the blood to.
No way he is 17 years old. Okay, that's one thing I did not know. Oh my gosh. Like, were they like, oh, hey, there's a 17-year-old. He'll be perfect to play an old man.
I don't know how they chose that. If they just ran out of people and they're like, crap, we don't have any old men. Like,
hey, boom mic guy, come over here. I made the grandpa today. Like,
absolutely.
What? That is crazy. Oh my gosh.
The only thing I could think of is maybe because it was so hot, he could handle being in a suit like that.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
But maybe not. Who knows?
Watching the documentary on this and knowing the behind the scenes, like what was going on, I'm not going to lie. And I never thought these words would come out of my mouth, but I feel sorry for Leatherface.
Oh, yeah.
I know, because they filmed for 4 weeks and did not wash the costumes. So they're in 100-degree Texas heat, and Leatherface is wearing wool and a mask that he can't see in. Well, I think ended up being like 3 different masks. But a mask he can't see in, and he's
He did so well, 12-hour days.
Being in like a wool suit, I think anybody in the Texas heat would start to stink. And so he stunk so bad that nobody would even eat lunch with him.
I didn't know that. That's so sad. I want to hold him.
I know.
I want to
poor
cuddle
little
him.
Leatherface. I know. Like how now I just
Baby Leatherface.
I know. It's so sad. So it's like when I heard about that, I was like, oh, I never thought I would feel sorry for Leatherface, but I do.
So for someone that feels like Leatherface, you just wanted to cuddle him because no one wanted to eat with him during lunch. As the character, not the actor, would you be a person that would want to try to understand him? If you were in their shoes, let's say you're in the movie, would you be like, whoa, I know you want to kill me, but like, I understand what you're going through. I love psychology. Or would you just be like, this guy's crazy, he's going to kill me?
So, to start off with, I would never want to be in Leatherface's shoes because he wore heels during the movie and they were 3-inch tall heels. So, I just wouldn't want to be in heels all day. But, in all honesty, you know me so well because I know you asked that question because, yes, I would want to be like, tell me about your childhood. Tell me about where you feel like this began. Like, yes, I would definitely want to sit down and pick his brain. Like, I love just, talking to just regular people. Oh my God, if I got to just sit down with a cannibalistic killer, yes. Be like, before you kill me, let me just learn a little bit about you. In the hopes, I swear I would, in the hopes also that, like, I could try to, like, help him not to kill me. Not that I think, yeah.
Do you think he's one of the typical bullied, or do you think he killed animals?
Yes.
You're like, yeah, he never stopped. You're like, do you see his house? It's covered in bones.
And it was actual real animal bones and real skeletons used.
That art director needs to win awards for how amazing he did.
Oh my gosh. 100% agree.
It looks amazing. It sounds weird, but it's kind of like our decor. Like our whole house is just covered in bones.
It's kind of.
I mean, I don't want the audience to think like picturing us living in, Leatherface's house. But no, we have a lot of dead deer and coyote bones.
You need to show pictures right here so people understand what you're talking about.
It's a Leatherface core,
'Cause it's not like, it's very classy. So.
Who's your inspired decorator? Oh, Leatherface.
Oh my gosh, I love it so much.
Just the way he put those bones together.
Yeah.
That bone lamp had me just all giggly.
When you ask about like his childhood, I think the when you get down to the root of this movie, it's just about family. It's just a family movie.
Absolutely.
They eat together. They
kill together.
They kill together. It just kind of is like a. I get a warm feeling when I watch it. Actually, I'm gonna be honest. When I first watched it, I was a teenager, and it was a girls spend the night party, and it was my friend Kim's brother's movie, and we were like, "Oh, we're gonna watch this."
Oh wow!
I know, and thinking back on it, like I was so scared. It was the most gruesome thing I had seen, but it's really not that gruesome of a film.
Yeah, there's no blood, right? Or very, very little blood. Very little blood.
Yeah, very little blood. He wanted to get a PG rating, so he tried not to do a lot of gore.
Which is like a PG rating. Like, wow, we're gonna market this one for children.
Right. Well, he just wanted as many audience members as he could get. So he's like, we're just gonna go for PG, which is funny. But yeah, thinking back to it, it was just horrifying. But I think girls like feed off each other and like oh my god,
Yeah, and that's the best kind of movies. Your favorite film, Halloween, is the same way.
Exactly. Yes.
You don't have to have visuals to, have an amazing film.
Yeah, and it's just like when you let the viewer use their imagination more, it comes out scarier than if you actually show what's happening, which doesn't seem like it would work, but it does. It's great.
So I have another question for you, Kim. The Mummy.
Oh my God. Okay.
With Ed Gein being a very main character people say this was inspired by. They both made bones into furniture and wore people's skin. Is there a reason for that? What is the psychology of wanting to wear someone else's skin? Is that because they don't feel comfortable in their own?
So he didn't just wear the skin, Ed Gein. So he did lots of things with skin. He made a chair with skin. He made a lamp with skin. He made a belt, like a legitimate, like holes in it belt of nipples. He had a box of noses. He had a box of women's genital areas. Like, I think he was just so socially awkward, and he just, like, he didn't know. I don't know.
That's crazy. That's crazy talk, literally.
Yeah. He had cups. I mean, he had bowls, soup bowls made out of human head.
The real killer is scarier than the fictional.
If you interviewed people that knew him, they were like, oh, old Ed? No, he couldn't hurt a fly because he was so shy and socially awkward. He didn't have friends. He, really quiet guy. Like, people would not expect it from him. But I guess that's, the thing about serial killers is, like, they look just like you and me. They're not Leatherface.
Yeah.
And I think that's why Ted Bundy, like, people just were so shocked by Ted Bundy because they were like, God, he was a regular looking guy. That's a serial killer. And I am so getting off subject.
No. This is actually on subject. What's the other killer's name? The one that tried to turn people into zombie slaves?
Yes, Jeffrey Dahmer.
So Jeffrey Dahmer, I watched a video, weirdly enough, like 4 days ago, and it was a home video of like one of his family members filming him and asking him how everything's going. He's like, oh, I've been eating fast food. I need to quit. I need to eat more at home. And it's just so disturbing because to think what he's eating at home is like people, but he's just naturally like, you know, at a family get together, just being average, sitting there.
When he was eating out, do you think he was eating out at Five Guys?
Yep.
I did not make that up. That was a meme. But I just had to enter it.
That's awesome.
I will say something about Ted Bundy, and it's just so weird. But when I was little, the whole Ted Bundy thing happened in the 80s, and I was little in the 80s. And I thought that Ted Bundy was Al Bundy, and I got him confused. And so for years, like 10 years, I thought Al Bundy was Ted Bundy.
The Married with Children?
Yes.
Were you afraid of him when he was...
Yes.
It's like, when is he going to kill him?
When you think of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, obviously Christmas is the first thing that comes to mind. I'm just kidding. But that is how the idea of Texas Chainsaw Massacre like happened. Was he was out shopping for Christmas, saw the chainsaws, and then was shopping some more, and the chaos and, you know, how everybody is around the holidays, and thought, God, if I had a chainsaw, I could do some damage, and that's how I came up with it.
I'm not going to lie. Okay, so I cut down a tree a few days ago and made a post out of them and hung lights on them, and it's kind of weird. You feel very powerful with a chainsaw, and you're cutting through this giant tree, and when it falls, it's just so powerful, and you just feel the whole ground shakes, and you just, I don't know, you just feel strong with it. You know what I mean? Like you can just cut through anything. It doesn't matter what it is, how big it is, like you can take it down. And I now understand why that's such a powerful weapon that you can use.
When you think of horror films and chainsaws, Evil Dead come to mind, or does Texas Chainsaw Massacre come to mind?
Evil Dead.
Okay, me too.
But I'm very curious who would win in a battle. Who is the better chainsaw? Leatherface or Ash? Or you know what, better yet, who is the better chainsaw artist? Who could cut a great masterpiece out of some piece of wood with a saw?
I mean, I think Ash would do better because Leatherface obviously has a lot of mental issues.
He could be on that spectrum where he's really good at something.
That's true, and it could be cut, you know, like those people that make like bears and stuff out of trees. Like he could be, that could be what he did in his spare time, and we just didn't know.
He built that whole house with that chainsaw.
Yeah.
That's what happened. I think that house is still there.
So it's not there, but there.
Oh no!
I know, but there's a house. I guess they either moved it or there's one just like it right by there, and it's a restaurant, and you can eat there.
We should eat there one day. I'd be down to do like, take our podcast on the road.
Me too.
I think
so
Steve-O does
fun.
that sometimes. He'll be driving and doing the podcast on the road.
We could eat the things that they ate in the film.
Like what? Like people?
I mean, not the family, the killer family, but like, I'm just saying for different films. I didn't mean like.
Gotcha. I was just kidding. You mean like people, Kim? I don't know if that's legal.
No, that is not.
Is it if you have consent?
No. Nope. There was a guy, and he had consent, and he still went to jail.
Wow.
Met the other guy in a chat room, and he was like, "Yeah, eat me." Nope.
Nope.
That is not legal.
Wow. Well, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
That's not a bad thing at all.
Also, talking about cannibalism, if you have tattoos, it has been said that the meat under like people that have tattoos doesn't taste as good. So
that makes sense. It's kind of like
more
ink.
Yeah, tainted. Yeah. So it's a good reason if you want an excuse to get another tattoo. That's mine. I'm like, I need another one. It will help me keep cannibals away. That's my excuse.
Oh, you're going to have like a way to get away from every single creature, whether it be human or non-human.
Right.
Sometimes you can't be prepared, as we both know. The characters in this
I agree.
didn't know what Leatherface looked like, correct?
Yeah.
The actual actors that were playing it never even saw
Yeah.
Leatherface, right? But until they finally filmed for the first time.
And imagine, I mean, I think that was a great idea. Imagine how scary that would be. Like the first time you see the character, it's like,
Yeah, you're already in a
coming to kill
creepy
you.
area surrounding that you are not used to. You're in this creepy house that is full of bones, and you finally see this guy with a chainsaw. That's going to scare me. Chainsaws are horrifying without someone. If a friend has a chainsaw, I'm like, okay, be real safe, be real careful, man. Like,
And they used a real chainsaw. That's scary too.
oh my gosh.
And one of the actresses actually got cut at the dinner scene. Like when you see her face get cut, like that's legit. Yeah. There was some crazy stuff going on. In the 70s and horror films, independent ones, oh, there's just all kinds of stories of injuries and...
I know. I feel like I do some of that a little bit. Still a little worry of like who to say, what to say. I don't want to get in trouble. I mean, there's a lot more, rules and regulations now in the film industry where I don't want to cross them. I'm not saying I do weird, crazy stuff.
Right.
I'm just saying...
But say like you had your sister tied up and had, an actual knife.
I would never do that.
You would never do
Insert the falling prey right here.
that. Never.
He kind of
Right.
was like a Leatherface character.
He was. Yeah, I think of that. Like that's immediately what came to mind when I thought of that.
How do you feel about
Very
them
mentally
still
unstable.
making Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies? There's one coming out right now.
But I like the original, and so hopefully when they redo this next one, it will be good. I have higher hopes.
I can agree with that. The original was the best.
Yeah.
This new one is going to be in 3D, so I don't have the best... Like, I really don't think it's going to be a classic masterpiece of all time.
Mentally, when you said they're coming out with a new one, you know that meme of that girl where she's like, yeah, and then she's like, "Brr." Like,
Yeah.
it was like that. And then you said 3D, and I was like, oh, it's not okay. So that's just to give you a visual of what's going on in my head.
As you know, all the actors and everyone that was on set and crew were very independent. They haven't done a whole lot. The sound mixer would bring his wife and daughter on set. They were shooting the scene where Leatherface has got the chainsaw and he's about to chop up Alan on the table. And the little girl comes in, wanted to say hi to everybody. And she walks in on that. And then she's like, oh, crap. She just screams at the top of her lungs, runs out of the room, runs out of the house, runs down the street. I feel like I would do the same, don't you?
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, I couldn't imagine like going to mom or dad's work and then just walking in on that. Like, oh my gosh.
I know. Absolutely. Our father, he worked at a mill situation. I guess we would have more of a Nightmare on Elm Street Freddy
Yeah.
scene going
Yeah.
for us if we went to
Yeah.
our father's work. But same scenario.
Oh gosh, that's
If I walked in on old Freddy clawing up the place, I'd be like, no, I'm out.
It's interesting at our dad's work though. There was like a graveyard there. It was supposedly haunted. I don't know.
A lot of history,
Yeah,
right?
I always thought that was interesting. Yeah,
That is creepy. Why was there a graveyard there? Yeah.
a graveyard. I don't know.
Ooh.
There was. I know. It was at a Sipco in Birmingham, Alabama. If anybody wants to figure out why there was a graveyard there, please let us know. I've always wondered that. Where was the first time you watched this movie?
Probably in our living room.
Where was the first time Hannah watched this movie?
In your living room. In a tent in your living room.
We were big kids, and we decided just to make a fort in the living room and have horror night and watch Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
And as everyone knows, horror movies put you to sleep like baby whispers.
I know.
You clocked right out. Soon as you heard the beautiful
cannot-
sounds of a chainsaw, I heard Z's coming out of you.
I swear, I people might think I'm mentally unstable. If a horror movie starts or true crime, if somebody's talking about true crime, oh my god, I sleep so good. Like, it's the best sleep ever. Is that not weird?
It's funny. I'll tell you that.
Horror.
It's when you know you're a true fan.
Shout out to Jessica White and Brad White. Jessica, you were the first person that I ever watched this movie with. Thank you for making that amazing.
Wow, that's a landmark right there.
It is. I think almost every one of the horror movies that I ever saw, Jessica was. I watched them with Jessica, so that I have lots of happy memories, fun memories with that.
Those are good memories. Those are like, the nostalgia is a thing, and it's such a. I sadly don't remember where I watch things as much as I remember the movie than I do where I watched it.
I'm the opposite. Like, before we do these, I have to rewatch the movie because I'm like, I don't remember all the details. I can tell you where I was, who I was with, what perfume I was wearing, what we ate,
Yeah.
like what day it was. Oh, the movie, I don't know. It's probably because I fell asleep. That's why I can't remember.
So, like, let's say I read a book.
Yeah.
I'm the same way with books. If I read a full page, I won't even know what I read. I'll read it out loud, and I don't even know what I just read.
It's weird how different people think differently, Like, some people imagine things differently, or some people have inner monologues, and some people don't.
The way the mind works is insane.
I was on TikTok. True Horror with Wolf and a Mummy has a TikTok, by the way, if you want to check that out. But I was on TikTok, and there was a lady, and she was like, close your eyes. Now picture a star, a red star. And I was like, okay. And she's like, open your eyes. And she had these little diagrams, and she was like, what did you see? And, like, I didn't actually see the red star. Like, I imagined the red star. Like, I knew what a red star looks like, but I couldn't actually, all I saw was black. I didn't actually see a red star. I didn't know you could actually see. I didn't know people actually saw things. Like, when your teacher was like, picture this. Like, I thought you just thought about a time when you saw something like that. You didn't actually picture it. So it blew my mind that, like, people can actually picture things in their mind's eye.
Yeah, the mind, it's amazing how the mind works. I personally don't see it. I see it in my head.
Yeah.
Visualize it,
Same
but
here.
it's not
like,
there.
I can think about a time when I saw it, but I don't actually see it. Or, like, I have an inner monologue. My husband does not. That confused the crap out of me. I think I picked his brain for like an hour, like trying to figure things out. Like, how does that work?
My inner monologue helps me with before I'm about to say things, and the way I can think about it before and say it in my head first, as well as just helping with lists. I say it in my head over and over and over. I'm just like, do this, do that, do that. And it's me saying it.
Yeah.
It's me like saying it to myself.
Yeah.
And I just can't imagine literally not having that and just thinking.
So going back to Ed Gein, they said that when he was younger, he acted kind of odd, and that he would just be sitting there and then just start laughing. And they were like, why did you start laughing? And he was like, because I was thinking about a funny joke. And I was thinking, well, that's not that weird. Like, my inner monologue is hilarious. Like, I've laughed at myself before too. So,
oh, absolutely, I've laughed at myself.
I'm so funny in my head. Like, I don't always come out with it, but I'm like, oh, that was good.
Sometimes I have to look around because I'll laugh at something I said in my head, and then make sure no one else is thinking I'm just like a creepy laugher in the corner.
Like
and I get it. Is it weird that we kind of understand the creepy people?
I know. Oh. So I thought that was interesting. I love the psychology of things. I'm so glad you appreciate it too. Like, it's just, I want to pick people's brain. But yeah, when you were talking about would I pick Leatherface's brain, not literally, because he would want to pick mine.
Heyo.
But yeah, oh gosh, I would eat it up. Yes.
Man, this has been a good podcast. I enjoyed us talking like this. I'm so happy we got to do this film and talk about it. And I'm so glad I got to talk to you about this film, because I feel like you understand it more than most people I talk to about it. You really help me understand what they're trying to do, what the killer is feeling. And I just feel like I see the film in a different way, and I like that, and I enjoy that. I don't just see a killer that is hungry. It is someone that is, had a hard life, that probably sees red stars and doesn't imagine them. A man that laughs at his own joke.
I can't.
So I really liked talking to you about this film.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we need to watch the new one together
Yes.
when it comes out.
Also, pencil me down for Halloween Kills.
Oh, completely we need to do that. And when we watch the new one, we'll put some tents up in our living room and watch this one. And you can take a nap.
That would be awesome. So thank y'all for joining us. Again, we are Wolf and the Mummy, brother and sister duo that like to talk about horror, true crime, and psychology. So if you get a chance, don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave a comment below. We are really interactive. We want to hear what you think. If you have any suggestions or anything you want to hear about next time. So thank you, everyone. Thank you for everyone that's been supporting us. Y'all have been amazing. And we will see you next week.
True horror with Wolf and a Mummy.